Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to be going through the subject of vivarium and rub setups and going through the pros and cons of both. Now, in my opinion, if you have the space for a viv, go for a viv. Rubs are great and I'll get to their points in a second and why they're good, but first we'll start off with some of the pros for vivariums are that they're nice to look at. They are you can get them in loads of many different colours of different types of wood. Mine are all oak vivariums. You can get them in walnut, so they're dark brown. Get them black, white, get them like a cherry kind of wood, so they're red. So basically you can get them to match your furniture. They're great displays because they have like a glass front and they look like a cabinet, which I think is also really nice. They can provide great space. You can get them in many sizes, from the smallest as I think 2 foot all the way up until like God knows 10 foot size, depending on what species of animal you want to talk about. Now they are also great because you control the heat and the humidity quite well in these. I say heat more just because they're an enclosed space. Humidity can be a little bit tricky depending on the species, but I haven't found a problem with it just yet. So we'll get on to the cons about vivariums. Now, vivariums can be kind of pricey if you're willing to spend that sort of amount of money. I mean, for a 2 foot here, they're roughly about between £40 and £50. My 2.5 was £60. My 3 foot was £50 because it was second hand, but my 4 foot was £70. You can get them at loads of different places. They can be quite fiddly to put together on your own, so if you have someone to build it with you, that'd be fab. Other than that, vivs are quite great. The only problem I do have with them is that if you have a lot of reptiles and you have to stack them, it's harder to open the bottom ones, just because of the pressure on the runners and stuff. But other than that, they're great. I think they look really cool. You can really give your animals a cool display to make it look like the natural environment. Now we'll get on to rub setup. Now on to rub setups. So this is my rub setup I have for my hatchling corn snake. As you can see, she's tiny. So the good thing about rubs is you can get them in so many different sizes. I mean, this one is a 35 litre. It doesn't need to be this tall for this particular species. But you can get them such as the 18 litres, which is what I'm keeping my royal python in, who is currently having struggles with eating. I like these because it's not completely see-through, so you can kind of make it feel a lot more shut in for the scare, like the species that have problems with eating, like my Theo. It can help with that. You can also, for the more difficult, not difficult species, but for difficult species for humidity, like the rainbow boas, stuff like that, you can keep the humidity up really well depending on how many holes you put in the rub and substrate and everything. They aren't the nicest to look at. I mean, to me, it's not about look. I'm more worried about my animal's welfare than the look of it, as long as it's the correct size. Because I've got a rub, but I'm currently not using anymore, just because the snake that went in it was way too small. It's the same size as a 3 foot vivarium, so you can kind of pay £20 for a brand new rub and you want to do is put holes in it, or you pay a total of probably like £100 for a viv setup with everything in it. Heating for rubs, you will need to use a heat pad or a heat strip on a thermostat, just so you don't melt it. But this is good because heat rises and the heat from underneath would warm up the substrate. Rubs are also great for particularly little snakes and snakes that grow quick, is that instead of having to, say example, you've got a boa constrictor or a corn snake and you put it in a 2 foot viv, and then by about a year or so it's too big for the viv, and then you have to go up the next size and get 3 foot, so you don't scare the snakes, so it doesn't put them off their food, especially like royals and stuff. These are great. I mean, for this rub size, she'll be good at this for at least another half a year, then I have to upgrade her. Rubs are also great because they're cheap. I mean, you can get them in the UK, you can get them from B&Q, any size, quite cheaply. I mean, this one here cost me about £10. so they aren't that expensive, honestly, and they're quite, as I said, they're not nice to look at, but for the well-being of the snake, I'd rather put my snake in something that's a bit ugly than to scare it. And as for the heat with the heat mat, if anyone's worried about the box melting, the really useful storage boxes do have a feet, so when it's on top of the heat mat, it's not actually directly touching the rub, so you can easily fit a heat strip underneath there. The one thing I do have to say about rub setups is that they aren't suitable for large snakes, such as adult royals, or like boa constrictors, retics or anything, because honestly, you won't be able to get one big enough. Or that also because of the pressure of the snake on top of the heat mat would melt the plastic and all that stuff. So I'd say rubs are more of a temporary setup, unless you've got a small snake such as like a hognose or a Kenyan sambo, then it's pretty much okay. It's all down to personal preference and how people see it. I personally would, as I said at the beginning of the video, I'd rather have my snake in a setup that looked a little bit ugly to me, but when's the snake ever going to care? I don't think the snake's ever going to care that it's got plastic walls compared to wood or glass front. Honestly, if you can provide them with Viv, go for it. But just remember that you're probably going to have to upgrade it depending if you get a young snake or an adult snake. That's the only downside. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you have any questions, just put them down below. I'll get to you as soon as I can. Please subscribe, comment and like, and request some videos. I'll be happy to hear some, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye bye.